I'm Geoff Stokes. Welcome to Geoff's Daily Dose of Encouragement. Today I want to encourage you, we need to move on. Particularly what I'm referring to is in my country, today we celebrate what we call Waitangi Day, which is New Zealand Day, or when the Treaty of Waitangi was signed in our country. And that was signed in 1840. Fast forward back up to today, and over the years there's been a lot of things that have happened to the Māori people that were unjust and not right, and those things over the years, in recent times, say the last 20 to 30 years, a lot of those things have been put right, and there's still ongoing claims under the treaty for land that was confiscated wrongfully, and different wrongs that have been done. But there's a point at which, there needs to be a line drawn in the sand to say, okay, now we've done everything we can to right wrongs that those who were early settlers, and it's not all of them, it's not all of those that colonised the country that were wrong or did bad things. Some would have, but there would have been some good people in amongst them. There was also people that at that time preached the gospel, and there were certain Maori leaders that took a hold of that and preached the gospel to their people, and they came to the Lord, etc. And there was an amazing movement of God in this country in amongst that. But what happens is there's like a small minority of people that want to keep the gravy train going, that want to keep blaming the sins of the fathers, if you like, upon the children. Well, in this case, it'll be the great grandchildren. I'm a fourth generation immigrant, so my 4 times great grandfather came here in 1850. So if we go back, you're probably talking 4, 5, even now 6 generations, and still we're hearing about what we suffered under colonisation and all that sort of stuff. And it's not only happening in this country, New Zealand, it's happening in Australia, it's happening in North America, Canada and America, and different countries around the world, and even in England and places like that. How bad these colonisers were. But the thing is that the world has changed, and the people that live today are not the perpetrators of wrongdoing. And also what's happened is that a blind eye is also turned to the good things that have come in, like in education, medical care, the fact that technology, the technological advancements and things like that. The list could go on and on and on. And so there's got to be a time where a line is drawn in the sand, and a lot of these people that are perpetuating this grievance gravy train are not Christian, or if they say they are, they're certainly not living to the gospel. And I was reminded of this when I was reading Ezekiel this morning. In Ezekiel 18 and verse 20, it says, God said, he was speaking to Ezekiel about the sins of the fathers, being exacted on the children, and God said, the soul that sins, it shall die. The son shall not bear the iniquity of the father, neither shall the father bear the iniquity of the son. The righteousness of the righteous shall be upon him, and the wickedness of the wicked shall be upon him. So those that have done the wrong, in the past, they're dead and gone, dead, buried, gone, ages and ages and ages ago, decades and decades ago. And in amongst them, there were people that didn't do anything. And the wrong things that were done, as best as possible, governments have tried to correct them. But we can't keep revisiting that, and we also can't keep changing the document that was signed to make it mean something else, so that these people can get more and more and more and start claiming more and more and more than what was actually meant. We've got to stop it, and we've got to move on and walk together as people, as a nation. And that's what my message a couple of days ago was about. It's about forgiveness, isn't it? We need to forgive and move on. There has to be a line in the sand. We cannot keep putting our hand out into the past, or we cannot keep living in the past and keep drawing on hurts of the past or things done wrong in the past and continually bringing them up to claim some sort of right. Forgiveness is about letting go of those things, acknowledging they happened, confessing them, and forgiving and saying, okay, we're not going to require that of you anymore. That's what forgiveness is about. And that's what letting go of the past is about. We don't live in 1840. We don't live in 1905. We don't live in 1950 or 1970. We live right now. And we've got to live life right now so we can go together as a nation. And as many people know in nations, they are not bicultural by any means anymore. Just because there's an indigenous people there, they also actually colonized the place at some point themselves and wiped out other peoples for their benefit. So it's a bit rich claiming that. The fact of the matter is that we are now, the world's population has exploded. I think it's nearly 7 billion now. And if you look over the years in our countries, I've just looked at the sports teams over the years. You take it from, say, the 1950s up till now, and in the European countries, there used to be a lot more European looking players in our sports teams, like I'll just say our rugby teams, for instance. And now it's so full of Māori and Pacific Islanders that the skinny white fella can't get a look in. So the demographics have changed. It's multicultural. Even our cricket team, there are a lot of South Africans coming in. There's a lot of people of Indian heritage who they are now New Zealanders because they were born and bred here, but generations before that their parents came from India to here, and now they're making it into our cricket teams and all sorts of stuff. And our sports teams we get professional players from different countries and all sorts of stuff. In America now, if you want to play basketball, you basically better be a black American, otherwise you just won't be big enough and fast enough or good enough. Same for athletics. So and they're not even the indigenous people in America. The American Indians are. So there's Chinese, there's Latino people, there's people of African extraction, Indians. There's just so many different. It's a melting pot now of races in our countries, and we need to draw a line in the past about grievances and have a constitutional arrangement that suits everybody, not just one group. So that is my encouragement for you today, as we need to move on. If you don't know the Lord Jesus Christ, then He's the one under whom we all need to come. He's a just judge. He knows right from wrong. He knows and judges righteous judgment. If we judge ourselves in our own cause, we're always biased, but He's not biased. And so that's why He encourages us to all come under His umbrella, under His lordship, so that we can then do things His way, which is He's all about treating people right, bottom line. And we need to treat people one another right. We need to treat one another fairly. And so if you don't know the Lord Jesus Christ, if you confess with your mouth the Lord Jesus and believe in your heart that God raised Him from the dead, you will be saved. For whosoever shall confess that Jesus is the Son of God, God dwells in him and he in God. Because I can assure you, Jesus said, whoever tries to save his life will lose it. But he who loses his life for my sake will find it. If we keep hanging on to our past all the time, we actually will lose. But if we let go of our past and give our lives to Jesus, He will give us a life worth living. God bless you. Have a great day.